Serling, he thinks I'm Dracula.
Phantom of the Opera, Frankenstein's monster, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
The Bride of the Monster, the Mummy, the Invisible Man, Halmer Polzig. What?
Yeah. Okay. These were the original 1930s movie monsters.
And most of them were complements of Universal Studios. A lot of the first having been brought to the big screen as silent movie monsters before the advent of sound in movies and the talkies.
Yeah. And these monsters all did great box office and left their marks and influenced movies that came after them. But by 1948, the year today's movie was released into the theaters, those original classic monsters had run their course.
And that's mainly because in the wake of World War II, America and the world had gotten used to horror of a different kind.
Yeah. Real life horror.
Yeah. The news was filled with true human monsters in the forms of dictators and fascists, and the death toll and the number of wounded coming back from the war was just astronomical as science and medicine had finally kind of caught up to modern standards and soldiers were surviving more of their terrible injuries.
Sorry for the dark intro, folks. But we do need to set the stage for this movie. The horror movie fan of 1948 had very different standards and expectations than those in the early 1930s. And the classic creature makeup, the bolts in the neck, the fake teeth, and plastic claws, just wasn't cutting it anymore. So what to do? Solution: turn those legacy monsters into jokes.
Yeah, that's what the studios figured out the world needed at that time in history. So let's all laugh at what used to scare us. Let's bounce back. Resilience, mental wellness, and big box office. Everybody's a winner. And maybe we get to the point sometime in the future where we'll even be able to laugh at the catastrophe we've just lived through. And maybe the studios are strategizing, hey, let's take it a step further and add a couple of these old monsters into the same movie. Let's do a little monster mashup here. So it's like one-stop shopping for the nostalgic ticket buyers.
Exactly.
Smart, yeah. Great. Okay, history lesson over. Now let's get into the plot of Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein.
A mysterious shipment is on its way to the McDougal House of Horrors attraction / wax museum.
I'll go there. That sounds good.
Yeah, it does. Kind of. And who is responsible for delivering it? We've got a couple of baggage handlers, Chick and Wilbur.
Bumbling baggage handlers.
Yeah.
So Bud Abbott and Lou Costello, they were the most popular comedy entertainers of the 1940s. These guys were huge in the 40s and the 50s. They were actually the most popular comic act for over a decade during overlap of these years.
They did 37 movies in 20 years, 1940 through 1960. That's about 2 movies a year for 2 decades. That's pretty incredible. And that's in addition to their television show that ran in the early 50s.
I'd like to see your hero Robert Downey Jr. pull that kind of productivity.
The point is, these guys were busy and in demand.
Yes, and they weren't particularly psyched about doing this movie. Neither one of them. This movie kind of vaulted them to an even higher point in their career and made them even more popular, but they didn't love the script. And they had already done a sort of spooky haunted house comedy, Hold That Ghost, a couple of years before. But this was the first movie that paired comedy with established monster characters. And then this formula became like a go-to for them.
Abbott and Costello went on to meet Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Mm-hmm.
They met the Invisible Man,
Mm-hmm.
which is, we'll talk more about that.
No spoilers?
They met with the Mummy, actually.
They did, yep.
They even went to Mars and met aliens.
Presumably,
Just
yeah,
for
I
sure.
haven't seen that one. They even met the killer, Boris Karloff, and that was actually the name of the movie. And Boris Karloff does not play the Frankenstein's monster in this movie.
Sadly.
Sadly, but Glenn Strange did a bang-up job.
True,
he actually
but
played Frankenstein more than any other actor, and certainly more than Boris Karloff did, even though Boris Karloff was the guy who made it famous and iconic.
Still, but Boris Karloff is an amazing actor.
Yeah, and so amazing, and an amazing guy, because he agreed to help promote this movie, even though he wasn't in it, which was pretty cool of them. So I don't think Robert Downey Jr., if someone else is playing Iron Man, I don't think he's going to do commercials and press for it.
Be quiet.
Just saying. So, Glenn Strange, and then, of course, we have our old favorites, Bela Lugosi and Lon Chaney Jr.,
Yay.
reprising their classic roles.
Good casting all around.
I would say so.
So, Chick and Wilbur sneak a peek at the merchandise going to the spooky House of Horrors, which turns out to be Count Dracula and Frankenstein's monster. But the problem is that they're real. Wilbur mistakenly awakens Dracula, who then reanimates the monster. Then the fun really starts when poor Wilbur is manipulated by the beautiful but evil Dr. Sandra, who wants to fill the monster's empty head with Wilbur's brain.
But that's just the first lovely lady focused in on our Wilbur. There's also Joan, who is really investigating the goings-on at this House of Horrors / remote island castle. It wasn't clear to me at first whether these two places were the same, whether the House of Horrors was in the castle, but I think they're separate places. Anyway, Good thing, because you wouldn't want an amusement attraction set up in a remote island. So, the one guy who knows what's really going on is our friend the Wolfman.
Larry Talbot in his human form, and he's going to help Wilbur and Chick get to the bottom of everything. Luckily, there's a big party going on at the castle.
Very conveniently, yes.
Yeah. So the good guys can get in and start poking around. And that's when everything goes literally crazy.
Confusion! Is Chick a Wolfman?
Can the king of vampires be seen in his mirror?
Conflict. Showdowns and throwdowns between Talbot and Dracula, between Chick and Sandra, between the monster and Sandra. It all comes to a head, and it's a lot of fun. And the ending, no spoilers, is my favorite part of the movie. Let's talk recommended age, Serling. How old does a kid need to be to handle this movie?
I don't think there are that many curse words.
0, actually.
Yeah. I'd say, I don't know, I'm going to go 6. Like, it's not that bad. Like, 6 or 5.
Yeah,
6 or 5.
I mean, I think a kid does need to be old enough to have some awareness of these horror characters. So, the good news is that they're pretty ubiquitous. They're all over the place. So it shouldn't take too long for your kid to at least know what they are and what they kind of represent. The underlying societal fears that each of them are sort of an archetype or metaphor for. Do you know what a metaphor is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So each of these 3 monsters kind of represent something deeper. Like Dracula represents a kind of fear of disease and sickness. Because when people were writing about vampires, there were plagues going on and dead bodies piled up in mounds. And a lot of people were dying, and they couldn't figure out why, and it was these blood-borne diseases that was doing it all. And then Frankenstein's monster, that kind of represents this fear of technology and science that was putting a lot of people out of work in the 30s, when assembly lines and automation started kind of streamlining manufacturing processes. And the Wolfman, kind of like Mr. Hyde, it represents a kind of fear of losing control of your civilized veneer and allowing your inner animal out, kind of rooted in folklore. So I think we've done a pretty good job summing this up. You want to?
Yeah. Stop and watch.
Stop, look and listen, baby. That's my philosophy. I thought we were supposed to harmonize on that. Okay. When we come back, we'll spoil this movie up for you real good.
So, good time.
Welcome back, everybody. Yep. So, Serling, let's talk about some of the other movies that were released this year. 1948. What were the scary movies that this one was up against?
We have Castle Sinister, Daughter of Darkness.
Never saw it.
Rope.
Like the Tom Jones song, though. Rope is great. Alfred Hitchcock.
House of Darkness.
House of Darkness, Daughters of Darkness. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah. The Amazing Mr. X.
Wait, do the Daughters of Darkness live in the House of Darkness?
Yes.
I don't know how they see what's going on.
The Creeper.
I haven't heard of any of these.
Unknown Island.
No. Unknown
The Feathered
movie.
Serpent.
Nope.
Horror Man.
Horror Man?
No,
Horror Man?
no.
Horror movies? There's a movie called Horror Maniacs?
Horror Maniacs.
The Amazing Dr. X I've heard of. This is not a great year for horror. Did we cover them all?
Yeah.
Okay. So horror was changing as we see. There were not the typical monsters of the 1930s at this point. Speaking of horror movies, the actress who played Joan, an actress named Jane Randolph, and she was also in Cat People, which something tells me we'll get to. And this was actually her last credited role in a motion picture. So let's talk pluses. What did you like about this movie, Serling?
Well, obviously, I love Costello.
Yeah.
I love it when he's in love.
He is a very lovable character.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked the animation.
Yeah.
I thought there were fun credits.
I like when Dracula turns and transforms.
I like that too.
Like it's
the animated transformation,
it's
Bella to Bat, Bat to Bella. It's kind of old school, but it works for me. I dig it.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So you liked the humor.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wish there was more gore in it.
Well, it's kind of a comedy movie. So
gore
and
is
it's kind of
fine.
1948, and people were getting enough gore from real life. So I think it struck the perfect tone. And the comedy in this it's known as slapstick comedy. Have you heard that term? Also referred to as low comedy, which I don't like that. I don't like that title. But it's kind of the most ancient comedic style, slapstick. It goes back to Greek and Roman days and pantomime, and there's a reason it's been around so long. It's because it's so basic and primal and physical, and it's universal. So that slapstick humor doesn't require any wordplay or tone or anything else that might get lost in translation from one language to another or from another culture, even from one time period to another. So it is kind of timeless and classic. And it allows kids to feel superior to adults. Who doesn't like that when you're a kid? It makes adults look like big kids, big dummies. And we just watched Dumb and Dumber, so that's kind of like a more modern day
Don't
version.
watch it if you're 5 or 6.
Yeah,
Please,
no, you can't watch
don't.
that. We're not, but that's not what we're here to talk about. The point is, slapstick's been around for a long time, and it's going to be around forever because it speaks to everybody. What else did you like about the movie?
You know, the Wolfman's eyes.
I love Lon Chaney Jr.
I know.
He's such a tragic, doomed figure. He is in The Wolfman. He is in this. He's great. And you said you really liked Bud Abbott, too.
Yeah, I liked the way, I like where he says, chick.
Well, yeah, Bud Abbott, great straight man. A lot of people refer to him as the king of the straight men. So they are a comedy duo, and you do a lot of laughing at what Luke Costello does, but he needs to be set up for all of his jokes and his bits, and Bud Abbott was a master of that. What about the warehouse scene is great when they're unpacking things, and the scene with the candle, sliding down the coffin.
Whee!
It's all great stuff, and it's all really fun. And yeah, I think the humor really works in this. I was a little worried going back to this because I had seen this probably when the first time I saw it, I was probably 7 or 8. Loved it. Probably saw it again in my 20s and had an appreciation for it. And now it really does still work. And it was really fun to watch it with you. And it was really fun to see the comedy that landed and the scary bits that landed too. Did you think some of the scary stuff worked?
I know you got spooked at one part, Dad. At the chair. When he's in the chair
yeah,
with Frankenstein.
I don't know if I got spooked.
Dad, you literally.
No, I said it was. This is a cool part.
No,
and it's
you
creepy.
said it was scary.
No, I said I liked that there were
scary,
still
folks.
some creepy parts.
Take it from me, guys. He said it was scary.
I was screaming. Someone's trying to make me look a fool on my own.
You
podcast.
are a fool.
Jeez, Serling. Words hurt. Let's talk minuses. What didn't you like about this movie?
Well, I think something that everyone can dislike about this movie. You can see Dracula's reflection!
Yeah, he's attacking evil Dr. Sandra, and you can see him in the mirror. Big bad oversight.
Why?
And it's almost like they made a point to shoot it that way.
Yeah, they had a giant mirror.
The camera's at a very specific angle. And previously there's a scene when they first come into the castle where there's a giant, they shoot a giant mirror, so you're like, oh, the mirror's going to come into this. They're not going to see Dracula's reflection when he gets introduced, but they didn't do that. And then they make the further faux pas of actually having him reflect.
Like,
reflect
Why?
in a mirror.
You're ruining our childhood.
I wouldn't say it ruins the movie,
You're
but
ruining mine.
it made me roll my eyes a little bit.
We're
Coolest
yelling
kill?
at-
There are some kills in this movie.
Not that many.
Evil Sandra dies. She gets chucked out a window by Frankenstein's monster.
I
I was like, whoa.
I
I was not expecting that.
She didn't deserve this.
Well, she kind of did.
Dad, she's mind controlled. She's being mind controlled first off.
I'm going to give coolest kill to right when you think Dracula is going to get away, does its animation change back into from
Then it's
Della
like,
to
bye.
Bat, and it's about to fly away, and it kind of lingers on it. It's getting away, and the way it's cut is really good. And then the Wolfman jumps off the balcony and grabs it, and they both tumble down the cliff and into the sea.
But I do have a question
That gets my
about
coolest
the
kill.
movie.
Sure.
Well, remember you had a question about this too?
Refresh my memory. The only question I have in my notes is, how great is Luke Costello? Question mark. I think we covered that. I don't remember what my question was, though.
Oh,
maybe we'll do it in a bonus episode.
Yeah. But we do have our favorite line from the movie.
There were a couple. What was your favorite line?
Remember?
But yeah.
Yeah.
Do it.
No, you do it.
So at one point, yes, Wilbur has draped his sleeve in front of his face, and he's pretending to be Dracula, and the monster is under his spell for a brief time. He's like, back, and the monster goes, yes, master.
And then
he turns to Bud and goes, he thinks I'm Dracula.
And then he just comes running at him like, you're not Dracula, you liar.
Yeah, that's a fun part. No real Serling got spooked moment in this.
There were no spooks.
I thought when
yeah,
Wilbur
the
was
chair.
leaving the note for Talbot in his hotel room, I thought that was a little creepy.
Oh yeah,
He's creeping out of the bathroom and
I love it. I love he doesn't know how close to death he is. Like when he grabs that apple and he's like, okay, I'll just take this. Then he goes back to the door.
I think it's an orange. Not
I think it's an apple.
not splitting hairs here.
I'm gonna look it up. 1 sec. Be right back, folks.
Yeah, we'll all wait here. All right, what are we gonna rate this? What do you rate it on the fearometer?
0.
I'm gonna give it a 2 because
2?
of the terrifying scene in the chair with the monster, of course. But no, I think some of the stuff with the Wolfman was effectively scary and might get a 6-year-old kid on edge a little bit.
Because the face design of it.
Yeah, the makeup's great.
Yeah.
Real good makeup.
And, of course, the changing.
And the transformation.
Yeah,
Yeah, we get 2 of them in this movie.
There is a book called,
what do we give it on the funometer?
10.
I love that you love this movie so much.
Immediate 10.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this a 9 on the funometer.
A 9.
Yeah, I gotta save the 9.5s and the 10s for other stuff.
Oh, is it because of that
maybe
horrifying
we'll revisit,
chair scene?
Maybe there'll be a point where we revisit our ratings, but it's early in the podcast, so I want to leave a little room at both ends. Legacy. This movie, here's how important this movie is, folks. It's number 56 on the American Film Institute's funniest comedies of all time. That makes it not quite as funny as Arthur, which we just watched also.
It was,
but funnier than Beverly Hills Cop, apparently, according to the experts.
What? Don't watch Beverly Hills Cop if you're 6 or 5. Wait
and what do you have to say about the...
Not till you're 12, son.
Not till you're 12, son. What do you have to say about the movie's legacy?
The United States Library of Congress deemed this film culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant.
Nice job.
And selected it for preservation.
Wow, you pronounced aesthetically and stumbled on preservation? Wow.
And selected it for preservation in the National Film Registry. I don't know how many of the movies we're going to talk about on this pod are going to meet that distinction.
No, that'll be interesting to see. So that's Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein, guys.
Yep.
And Serling, I'm going to kick it over to you to do a little tease for our next episode.
Yeah, we'll be back next time with Bud and Lou's Invisible Man, starring as a man.
Oh, wait. We didn't even spoil the best spoil of the movie. Serling, what happens at the end of this movie?
Oh,
There are
yeah.
not 3 monsters. There are 4. Although you can't see the 4th because it's the Invisible Man, voiced by
Vincent Price.
the great Vincent
Let's
Price.
go, Vincent.
It's a
We love him.
great last little moment of the film. Okay, so
I
now
love
we did
Vincent
our final
Price.
spoiler.
He is-
So take us out
Let me talk about Vincent Price.
in the next episode.
Yeah.
So give the little teaser for what's coming up.
We'll be back next time with Bud and Lou's Invisible Man, starring as a mad disfigured history buff who also plays a mean organ.
But don't let Serling's lackluster description fool you. It's a great movie.
It is great!
It's Art Nouveau meets Gothic horror. We're getting finally into the best decade of movies ever, the 70s. Next time on Daddy
Daughter.
Scary.
Let's try that again.
Oh, what? You didn't like my read? Okay.
No.
Daddy
Daughter.
Scary.
Horror. All
Join
right.
us, won't you? Meanwhile,
Can't.
smash that like button, guys.
Subscribe if you
Anything,
aren't already.
with any blunt instrument you can find, or your finger, or a sledgehammer,
Dad.
whatever it takes to smash that like button and subscribe and tell a friend and blah, 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 blah. Next time, we are looking forward to you
Invisible Man.
joining us again.
Okay,
That
bye.
was said perfectly. Bye.
Bye, folks.
Bye, John. I'm assuming someone named John is listening. Oh, Amy, thanks for tuning in.